Hello, welcome to Brap Life. Thank you guys so much for listening. It seriously means so much to me. The fact that these stories are being shared all over the world now is just absolutely incredible. And I've been getting messages over the last couple weeks of people from other countries telling me how cool it is to hear these stories. And they're so happy they found the podcast. And it's just incredible to me that I knew these stories would be inspiring people other than myself, but I didn't realize that it was going to have such a far reach. And I think that that's just amazing. And it really goes to show that everybody's story matters. And I think that that's just super awesome. So thank you guys again so much for the support. You guys have been nominating people. And that's really cool to be able to approach somebody and tell them that they've been nominated for this interview. It means so much to people who think that they're not being seen. So this has been a really fun experience, and it's been cool to just kind of help people realize how much they inspire the world. In today's episode, we're talking to Riley Bender, who is a hard enduro rider. I met Riley in April of 2024, and he was kind of just this force that I met. And I didn't really actually meet him. Like, he was kind of just like there, and I was a little bit intimidated by him. He has this presence about him, and he's just very confident, very strong kid. And it was really cool to finally get to talk to him. It took, I think, 3 races for me to go to before we actually spoke words to each other. And then at TKO, we finally had a real conversation. And then now we've had this podcast. So please bear with us. We had some technical difficulties. Riley's device microphone was not wanting to work properly, but I promise you, it is well worth listening to all the weird little noises that happen. This was a really, really cool conversation, and I really didn't cut anything out because it was just so much good. It was really fun, and I learned a lot, and it was really cool to have support from such a good rider who doesn't really know me for my riding. And it was cool to get advice, and it was just a really great experience all around. So I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you next week. Beautiful. Awesome. So here we are.
We're live? We're on,
Yep,
I guess.
we are live. Yeah. We're recording. So
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so thank you again for joining. I really appreciate you taking all this time to come and talk, and just let us know kind of how you got started. When did you start riding? What did you start riding? What were you on? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so obviously being from Hard Enduro, a lot of people have assumed that I'm from trials, which is not true.
Mhm.
I am from the furthest from trials. I came from motocross. I started riding when I was 2 on a little PW50, and then with training wheels. Did my first race when I was 3 on a TTR50 with training wheels. And yeah, so I've basically been racing since I was 3 years old. I got into motocross when I was like probably 7 or 8. I started actually getting some pretty good success in it. Like, I was doing all the national arena crosses and not doing half bad. Like, I made it to the finals each year, and kind of just doing like the whole chasing Loretta's thing.
Mhm.
And then after my second national arena cross final, I got like 11th. And I was still in 50s at the time. We're on our way home from that. I was in Vegas. And I told my dad, I'm like, I never want to race again. I was like, I hate this. This sucks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, like, if you're not wanting to race, like, we're gonna sell the bikes and stuff. I'm like, no, I want to ride. I just don't want to race.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we can do that. So I started trail riding, and I was like, okay, this is sick. Like, this is super fun. And I was
Mhm.
like transitioning into a 65 at that time, so I could actually like, do stuff on a bike. So that like they tried to take me trail riding a couple of times on 50s, but it didn't really go well. Because both my parents were into riding and both trail
Okay.
riding as well. Like my dad did moto when he was younger, but was a trail guy when he started getting older. Um, so yeah, did that, went into riding trails, and then my dad's like, "Hey, you can race this." I was like, "What? No way!" So I did like a local hare scramble, and
Uh-huh.
I won that. And I had no expectations going in, so I won like my local hare scramble, which isn't saying too much. And so then the next year, I was like 11 at the time. We did like the full series of our local hare
Mhm.
scramble series, and I won the like youth class. They called it Iron Mini. I won that on the 65, and I was like the first person to ever win it on a 65.
All right.
So I had some pretty good success locally. Then I transitioned more
Yeah.
into enduro. I started doing the Rocky Mountain Enduro circuit, which is decently well known, at least around here, and
Mhm.
had some good success in that. Won youth championship, I think twice. Moved up to B class, won the B class championship, and then got kicked out of the series. But that's a little bit of a different story. Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna get too into that. But
All right.
yeah, so I was like doing enduro, doing hare scrambles, and I was like kind of what you're saying, like seeing Erisberg and seeing like Romaniacs on TV. Like I want
Yeah.
to do that. That looks cool. And I knew about like TKO, and that was about it, at least stateside. And so I started kind of following, like in 2021, I started following like the U.S. Hard Enduro series before it was U.S. Hard Enduro,
Mhm.
when it was like the Kenda Extreme series. And I did my first Hard Enduro. It was the Iowan Hard Enduro in 21, and
Mhm.
won C class in that on an 85. And
All
then the
right.
Silver Kings was leading C class, and then I had ran out of gas.
On the
Uh,
85?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah, I ran out
God.
of gas.
Okay.
So obviously that ended my weekend with a DNF. But after that, I was like, okay, like I want to do this. This is sick. And we were kind of in the boat of I had been doing GNCC like the past season. I did about half the season of GNCC, full season of National Enduro. Because like in our eyes, then it was like, okay, like if I want to make a career out of this, if I ever want to do something in this, like it's got to be GNCC or National Enduro. So I was
Yeah.
still doing National Enduro at the time, but I convinced my dad to let me do a couple hard enduros. And then in fall of 21, I did a couple enduro crosses. Didn't do too great. I got one junior trials win, but that was it. There's like three people in the class that night. Um, but I got approached by Ron, who owns
Mhm.
Sherco USA, and he was like, at the time, I had no idea who he was. I didn't really know what a Sherco was, other than the fact that Cody
Mhm.
Webb wrote it. And he came up to me, and I don't think he was wearing like any Sherco clothing or anything, maybe a hat. And he was like just small talking me, like
Yeah.
talking about where I was from and stuff like that. And he's like, "Well, what are your plans next year?" And at the time, I was gonna do GNTC and National Enduro under like a Husqvarna support team, kind
Yeah.
of like a support rider, because, like I said, I was like that's where I have to be. That's where I have to be. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay, what do you do next year?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm riding for Husqvarna." He's like, "Well, how do you like the bikes?" I was like, "Oh, I love them. They're great. I love my Husqvarna." I gave like the whole salesman pitch on them. And then at the very end, he's like, "Well, if you're ever interested in riding a Sherco, let me know." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's like a dealer or something, whatever." And then as I was like finishing my qualifier, because his
Mhm.
son Dylan was in my class at the time, so that's why he was there. And
Yeah.
as I was finishing the qualifier, I see him like walk into the factory 110. I was like, "Wait a minute, who is this guy?" So then I messaged the Sherco USA Instagram account and was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, I talked to some guy at Endurocross. Like, I don't know who he was, but I think he wanted to sponsor me. I don't know." okay, that'd be our owner. Ron gave me his email, phone number, and like I emailed him, and he's like, yeah, we definitely be interested in talking to you. Like, let's set up a Zoom call. Like,
Heck yeah.
okay, damn. So sure enough, yeah, that's what we did. I had a call with him, and I ended up getting on the rider development team my first year. That was 2022, and it was basically like I got a little bit of help from Sherco and then a little bit of help from a dealership. Like I was under the umbrella of a dealership.
Mhm.
Um, so that year I did National Enduro and Hard Enduro and Enduro Cross, which was insanely busy. Um,
Yeah.
because I like it being my first year in Hard Enduro, I was like, I don't really know if this is going to go anywhere. Like I might just be an amateur in Hard Enduro for the rest of my life. So like I got to do National Enduro because I'm not half bad at that. Like I had been getting
Yeah.
podiums the season before. I never
Yeah.
got a win. I did get 3 podiums though, and then going into my second year of doing it, I was like, which was the year I was on Sherco. Um, I was 100% going for the championship. Like that was our only goal in doing it. And
Mhm.
after 2 weeks on the bike, like I got third in the first round, wasn't stoked. Went back to the next round, got first. So like I knew that was where I was supposed to be, and I ended up getting the
Mhm.
championship that year. I won every race but 2 of them. So it was a pretty damn good season for
Nice.
me. I got it was the Enduro Futures class, National Enduro.
Uh-huh.
Um, but then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. So I did in Hard Enduro that year. I did B class and went
Mhm.
damn near undefeated in B class, except Ohio where I got fifth. That wasn't a good day for me. But yeah,
We won't talk
after that
about that.
year, yeah, it was like first, fifth, first. The funny thing is like nothing even happened. It was just my writing.
Yeah. It's just a bad
Um,
day. We all have them.
yeah,
It's all right.
and then at the end of that season, at the end of 2022, I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm doing this. This is what I want to do because like I knew that I actually had success in it. And I could actually go somewhere with it. So
Mhm.
then last year, 2023, I signed with Sherco Satellite Team, Sherco Enduro
Mhm.
Racing, and got a lot more help from them. It was a pretty big step up. And then went to A class last year. Not my best year. So inconsistent. I had like some really good rides, like a couple podiums, and then like some not even top tens.
Yeah.
Uh, so I really didn't have much backing myself coming into this season, but then I got the offer to kind of ride as a support rider under factory one. So
Yeah.
not like a actual factory rider, but like getting help from them, and they were transporting a bike to the races for me and stuff. And I was like, well, crap! Now I actually have to do something good. And yeah, I busted my ass and had an amazing season. A lot of wins, a few bad races, but overall, super good season. And damn near worked
Yeah.
my way up into the top 10 at the end of the year. So
That was really cool. When I started
that's
watching you, it was impressive seeing you ride.
yeah, you saw me first at Battle of the Ghosts, which I had a
Yeah.
mechanical in the qualifier, started
Yeah.
102nd in the main event, and
Mhm.
passed my way up all the way to like 20th overall and second in A class. Uh, so like
Which
obviously
is
the paper results, yeah, like
yeah,
on
that's
paper it's a second
amazing.
place and a 20th overall,
Yeah.
but that was probably one of my best rides.
That's but look at how many people you had to pass and like at least the sections that I saw of it cuz I didn't get to see everything. Like there was a lot of areas where you had to go around a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's not easy to do. Like when people are in the best lines, like, and you have to go around them, like, I don't, not everybody races who listens to this. So, like, even just being somebody who rides on the trail and having to do that to get like around somebody on a hill, for example, like that sucks sometimes. So I can't even imagine
yeah.
being like in hard enduro and having to do that like in a sketchy section.
The further on I went, the better it got because like there's obviously less and less people. But at the
Mhm.
beginning, I'd get to a creek section. There'd be 20 people in a creek. I'm like, I guess I gotta pass these guys. Which is when my confrontation came up. But yeah, it sucks having to pass that many people. Like I watched so at Battle of the Goats, you like went out from the start to this like little loop
Mhm.
and then came back to like the start area was where your first
Yeah.
checkpoint was. And I'm still on the starting line as like Braxton and Corn, like the guys leading A class, they're coming through their first checkpoint. And I've still got 5 rows ahead of me before I can start.
Oh my God. I bet that was like super frustrating for you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there goes the leaders of my class, and I'm still on the starting lineup.
That sucks. Well, okay, so that's obviously hard, right? So like
Yeah,
how do you keep a good mindset in something like that? Like how did you keep
I'm,
focus?
I don't know. I generally try to be a pretty positive person. Like, I used to not be, and I've forced myself to change my mindset. Like, there's positivity in everything if you just look for it.
Yeah.
So, my thought was, okay, I have nothing to lose. Like, I cannot go backwards from here, possibly. I think I was like, I think I was dead last in A class at the start. So, like, I can't go backwards. I might as well
Yeah.
just like see how far I can make it up. My goal was a top five. Like I would be stoked at the top five with how far back I
Yeah.
was. So it was kind of like just I saw it as a challenge. Like how well can I do coming from dead last? And all of a sudden, like I came through after my first lap, and I looked at the board, and it was like fourth place.
Yeah.
Like how am I up here? And then by the end of the race, I passed all the way up to second.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to like I don't know. I guess find the positive, and there's lots of negative, but find something positive in it.
Was it helpful every single time you passed somebody? Did that just like give you more motivation? Because I feel like that's what it would do for me if I ever got to pass somebody.
Yeah, I mean, not really at the beginning when I was passing the amateurs, because I was like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be back here. Like, this isn't someone I'm comparing myself to.
Yeah.
But then like once I started getting up to, I like right about the time I got to Wenzel's water slide, which I fell down, and I took the bypass on Wenzel's water slide my second time, and the checkpoint workers said I was the only person to take the bypass. And I've yet to hear someone else say they took the bypass. um, so yeah, I took the bypass there, but I like about the time I got there, I started catching like good riders that I knew that I
Uh-huh.
like should be around. So the fact that I caught them from being so far back, like that was a confidence boost. Like
Yeah.
I got to one hillside and there was like 5 of like the top 5 A guys on it, and I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm good now. Like
This
these
is where I'm
are
supposed to be.
yeah. I was like, okay, I caught these guys, and we're 2 hours into the race. Like I'll be all right.
That's really awesome. That's I can imagine that would be like super cool. I mean, I have never been in that kind of position before. One day,
Yeah,
maybe, but
it was kind of cool when I was going through the amateurs because like you'd clean a line that like for us isn't that hard, but like for an amateur, it's you know insanely hard. And you clean something like that, and like they all start
yeah.
cheering for you and revving their bikes and stuff. So like you're just building off of all those guys, and it kind of I don't know. It's like how I imagine Tristan feels when he passes me.
Oh, that's
Laps me.
great. Tristan's just in a league of his own, so that's
Yeah,
just a
I don't
totally
know.
different thing.
Cody's in his league now. It took Cody a year
Well,
to get back, but
yeah, yeah. But no, Cody and him they're insane to watch. All of you guys are really to me. Like you were saying, I would be one of those amateurs going like cheering you on. I'd be like, "Oh my god, that was so cool!" Like watching you go by and stuff. That'd be awesome. But I going back to you and I had this conversation about um hard enduro and the people in it and the people around it and just the fact that you're essentially kind of competitors sort of are cheering for you, like that's really cool. And
yeah, like
I think that the community around hard enduro is really, really awesome.
no, for sure. Like hard enduros, like coming from motocross, if you haven't done motocross before, the people in motocross, at least at a higher level, like who are actually taking it seriously, like aren't really the greatest people, generally speaking. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, motocross events are so hostile. Like, especially when I was young, because when I was a kid, it was more the dads. Like the
Yeah.
dads were, the kids didn't care. Like none of us really cared. We're like, okay, I got 10th. Okay, I got first. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the dads, like, they're the ones who are passionate about it, and every dad thinks that their son's going to be the next Ricky Carmichael. So like everyone's like screaming, and in motocross, like every single kid is getting just absolutely like screamed at by his dad constantly, which is part of the fact I hated it.
Oh
Um,
my
like
gosh.
just everybody's yelling, screaming, like it's just not an enjoyable environment. So then going into like enduro and hard enduro, it's so relaxed. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like there's not people yelling everywhere and screaming. Like people are friends here. And then
Yeah.
like so many of us who compete together, right? Like
Yeah.
all of the top dudes, like um, like Ryder, Will, Gage, like some of like the top 10 dudes, like they're always riding together. And I stayed out in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania in between Battle of the Goats and Roar, and like I was
Mhm.
riding with dudes who I'm competing against and trying to catch up to, to be eventually hopefully beating one day. And like we're competitors, but we're all still just friends.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool. This is like the whole Hard Enduro Burros thing, right? Like, I
Yeah,
feel like I talk
exactly.
about them all the time. But yeah, I think it's really cool what they're doing because one, they're bringing like an awareness to the riding that these guys can do, right? It's just absolutely next level. But then it's also showing that, like, I think one of the last episodes, I don't remember if it was the last one or the one before it, where like Max like tackles Ryder on the sand hill and
Yeah.
like they're just like laughing and having fun. And like, I think that that's really cool because what other sport are you going to find people who are, like rivals out there riding together and just having fun. Like
Yeah,
all
like
the videos of Tristan just getting like stoked because of everything that's going on and like revving his bike out and everything. Like I think that's super cool.
yeah, no, for sure. Like it's we're all just a big family in the community.
Yeah.
Like we all love riding with each other, hang out with each other, because those are just like the people we enjoy to be around. And as
Yeah.
small of a sport as hard enduro, like if you're not friends with your competitors, it gets ugly fast because there's not many people there.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
if
good
there's
point too.
if there's
Yeah.
something in between you and your competitor, uh, it's it's tough because you're around them the entire time, constantly.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense actually. It's not something that I thought about before because it is such a small sport and it feels like everybody knows everybody. Um like and it, TKO was the perfect example of that. Like everybody came from overseas and it was cool that like so many people from like the US side they were like, "Oh yeah, I was over there talking to so and so." And it's like, "Really?
Yeah,
Okay, cool." Like, yeah,
like
they're just totally
I,
chill.
I didn't talk to too many of the Euros. Like I
Mhm.
did Teo and Mario, just because like
Yeah.
obviously they're in our pit. But like, yeah, the ones I did talk to are super chill. They're just like I kind of feel like the Americans idolize them a little bit more. Like even if like some of our like riders are better than them, like we're still like, oh my god, the Euros, like they're so good. Whereas like our riders are pretty similar level, but like we're never around them, so we kind of idolize them still. Like
Yeah, there's still like that kind of fangirl factor or fanboy.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
like oh my god, Billy, even though like our riders are beating Billy, and like
Yeah.
I'm close with pretty much all like the top dudes, like Tristan, Cody, Ryder, all those guys. Like I know them all pretty well. And then it's like I see Billy and I'm like, oh my god. Like at TKO last year,
Uh-huh.
at TKO, Billy like threw down his goggles in front of me, and I like sprinted to his goggles to grab him, like sprinted through this rock garden to grab his goggles, and I was sprinting because I thought someone else would grab him. Like literally, not a single other person moved. And anyways, I went and I got his goggles, and I came up to him after the race. I was like, "Hey Billy, can you sign your goggles?" Like that's what I said to him. He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, for sure." Like didn't think much of it. Then he realized what I said
Yeah.
and like looked at him. He's like, "These are my goggles." I was like, "Yeah, can you like sign them for me?" He's like, he's like, "Oh, I hate to say this, but can I have them back?" Like what? He's like, "Oh, I really need them for Outliers next weekend." I was like, "Okay, I guess so." And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll get you some. I'll get you some." Good. So he goes inside of his camper,
Uh-huh.
and like he was in there for like 5 minutes, and he comes back with a pair of pants,
Uh-huh.
used pants, and
Nice.
he signed his pair of
Just
his pants for me, and I was like, "Okay, cool. I guess like the goggles have been cool, but who has Billy's pants?" You know?
yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty unique. So
Yeah. So I guess I could say that, but yeah, I was like just so stoked to have his pants. Whereas like
yeah.
Cody gives me his old pants because I run out of pants and I need pants to ride in because somehow 6'3" Cody and myself were the same size of pants.
You have long legs. Oh my god.
Yeah, like I don't
Okay.
get how those pants fit him because they fit me. But
Well, your boot comes so high, so really they only have to go to like his mid shin,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
it's funny. He gave me like two sets of pants this year, and there was like one set of those pants. Every time I rode like with them, I don't know why I just rode better. And so that was always the joke. I was like, Cody, I need more of your pants because I read better in your pants.
that's what I was telling my friends. Jarvis rode my bike at a clinic, and I was like, "Yeah, my bike suddenly works so much better, and like I can ride it so much better." I think just because he
Yeah.
was riding it. Some of the magic.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
remember who I was talking to. One of the other interviews I did, we were talking about the magic that comes for like the pro riders. Like they have to have
yeah.
some sort of magic, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
100%.
Luckily, like as we were talking before, Cody isn't the guy who pisses his pants. So I have clean pants.
I
I don't know
forgot
about
about
Billy
that.
though. I don't know about Billy's. Maybe Billy's pants have some piss in them.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god. Yep. Gotta remember not to take pants from people.
Yeah, don't take Petrie's pants. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god, I love this. I love this conversation. Oh, so other than Mario and Teo, who else did you get to talk to at TKO?
um,
Did you get to talk to anybody or?
I really wanted to talk to the Brightmore brothers, and I never did. Um, I
Oh,
talked to
I got to
Carson.
talk to them.
Yeah, I heard they're cool and stuff. I just like never. I was in the woods for 90% of the weekend, so I didn't really do too much socializing. But
Yeah.
I did talk to Carson Brown, which like he's been one of my
Yeah.
childhood heroes. So getting to talk to him was so cool. Like
Yeah.
coming from motocross in that scene,
Mhm.
like Carson's such a legend. And I watch every single one of his YouTube videos, like he was pitted right next to our Sherco pit in Nashville. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's Carson Brown. I went over and I introduced myself and like I talked to him for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. He was just super cool, down to earth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. All the pros are like, I don't know, they seem intimidating, but they're just people.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to talk to the Brightmores, and then Radford Chug. They were
Yeah,
all getting shaved ice, and I was like, it's the end of a really hot day, and I was like wanting to get that anyway. I had never had it before, so they were getting
really?
it, and I was like, what flavor do you guys recommend? Because I like legitimately had I was a little overwhelmed. I was like, I just want something that's cool because I'm hot. Like somebody make my
Yeah.
decision for me.
They
But yeah,
used to put
we ended up talking for like 5 minutes or so. They were all
yeah.
super, super nice.
They used to put the shaved ice truck in front of the Sherco tents. And so that was like my go-to. I'd get done riding and I'd go there, except I don't like really sugary drinks or any of that stuff. So
Mhm.
I'd get plain ice. And
Yeah.
they would like just give me the ice because they're like, why the hell would you want that? And I
You're
get
so
plain,
weird.
yeah, I get plain ice, and then like I put my like Hammer Nutrition drink into the ice.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So you like make your own. That's kind of cool.
yeah. So like it wasn't bland, but yeah, and it actually was pretty cool this year compared to normal. Like the past couple of years have been so damn hot there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I still thought it was really hot, but I also
It,
don't deal well with
yeah,
humidity. So,
it was definitely hot this year, but it's been a lot worse.
hmm, yeah, I could see that for sure. But there was like 2 hours I was standing in the sun and I was like dying. It
Yeah, I
was a little
didn't stand in the
rough.
sun. I kept myself in the trees.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was helping with staging and I was just like there was so much happening, so I wasn't really in
Oh,
the shade like I
yeah,
should have been. So, um but yeah, that shaved ice really was awesome. It's
yeah. If
such a
it's
good idea for somewhere that's hot.
yeah, yeah, they've got to just make bank off that place at the races.
Oh, I can imagine, dude. Every single time I went over there, it was so busy. And that's why, like, at the end of the day, they were the only people that were over there. And I was like, all right, this is the only time I've seen it not super busy. And they were just standing
Yeah,
there, like, eating it. So I was like, they're obviously done, like, ordering. So
yeah.
it was cool though. They were super, super awesome. And like Radford is a character. He was just
So
like so outgoing.
yeah, I didn't actually like meet him, but I like was around him a decent amount.
Yeah.
And then um like my filmer friend from Canada, Zacho, was like
Yeah.
doing a lot of filming for him as well. And so he
Yeah.
was kind of telling me about him. And yeah, I heard quite a bit.
He seemed really fun. I didn't
Yeah.
spend too much time with him, but he was just like smiling and he was just like positive and it was really cool.
Yeah.
The
Every
Brightmoors were
video
both
he was
really kind
in.
of quiet, so
Yeah, every video that dude was in, like he definitely seemed like a cool dude. Like just super stoked. I
yeah.
feel like he hung around the bright more than them hung out because like he's kind of more the personality.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool. I think they were all traveling together, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was super super cool to just see all of those guys over here. And like, I've been following Matt Green's career for a while, and like, so it was super cool. I was actually walking the track with Rachel Gudish, and then we came across Wade Young and Matt Green, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So we all like walked the track together for a little bit, and
Yeah.
so it was awesome. It was like so
So
many dream come true moments happened at TKO. Like, I've always wanted to see Jarvis race like in person. I've obviously watched him for a long time and like I've done clinics with him, but I've never seen him race. So that
yeah.
was super fun to see too.
So I met Matty Green last year and
Yeah.
like I followed him for a while, knew who he was, and then at Silver Kings last year, um I'm going to get breakfast. I'm at like the little cafe like at the village area.
Mhm.
And as I was waiting for my food, he comes over and introduced himself, and he introduced himself as Matt, and I only heard him as
Mhm.
Matty.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, my name's Matt," and I'd never seen his face before. So like he introduced himself, and we had breakfast together. Like we had a full breakfast together, just hanging out, like talking about random stuff. And then like it was by the end of the breakfast where I was like, "Oh, so are you racing?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What class?" And he never raced in America, so he's like, "I think A class." I was like, "Oh, cool, that's the class I'm in."
Yeah.
And anyways, we got to talking. He's like, "Yeah, I just came back from Erzberg." I was like, "Oh, sick. How'd you do there?" He's like, "I was like 11th." I was like, "Overall?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What's your name again?" He's like, "Matt." I was like, "Matty?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, dude, like I knew who you were the whole time, just didn't know who you were." And then I was like, you are not in A class, you were in pro class. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." I was like,
Yeah,
You
their
better
classes
not
are
be
a
in that
little bit
class."
different.
Yeah, I was like,
Can you
if you're in that
imagine?
class, I am in for trouble.
That would be
But yeah, it was just
all
funny. Like
right.
I had a full
Yeah.
breakfast with him, like 30-minute breakfast, and I had no idea who he was.
That's so cool. He's such a nice guy. They all are, like, honestly,
Yeah.
like, every single one of them, like, I have not met somebody who's, like, a jerk.
No, not at
Like,
all.
it's like we were saying, going back to Hard Enduro just has the best people. It's super awesome.
Yeah.
So, but that's so funny. You're just like, "Oh, yeah, I totally knew who you were."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, dude, I like know so much about you, but just had no clue that that was you." Because as
Well,
riders,
at
and
least
I get what's that?
I was gonna say, like, if you had known, do you feel like you would have just been chill, or would you have, like, fangirled a little bit?
I don't know if I'd fangirled, but I don't know. It was a lot more chill because at first I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Because he like, I was eating my breakfast, sitting down, and then he just like
Mhm.
pulled out a chair and sat next to me. So I was like, "Who the hell is this dude?" Just like inviting himself into my breakfast. um, no, it was good though. It was funny.
That's awesome. Like, I can't even imagine if somebody just, like, sat down like, I've gone up and I've, like, talked to people, but, like, I've walked over, so I'm, like, mentally prepared. If something like that happened
Yeah,
to me, I'd be like, I don't know how to speak for a minute." Like
yeah. Like I was just like sitting at my seat, and he was ordering, and then just like turned around, and just sat with me. I was like, "All right, buddy, cool."
You're like, "What's
And like
up?"
I try to be a pretty social person too, so like, all right, I guess I'm eating breakfast with someone.
That's cool. I love that. See, I don't get stuff like that. I don't have cool stories like that. I have to, like, go talk to
You
people.
haven't been to enough yet though.
That's true, that's true. And I typically, like, am off by myself, like, camping in my car somewhere, so
Yeah.
maybe if I was a little more social, then it'd probably be cooler
Um
experiences.
yeah, we're kind of like forced to be social because like when you're in the pro pits, that's where everyone's hanging out. You know, everyone wants
That's
to come
true.
over and talk to you and stuff. So yeah, you're kind of forced to be social. Which
Well,
I
that's
don't
cool.
luckily I
Well,
don't mind it, but I know some people like
yeah,
don't love it.
they're just kind of like, "What?" Yeah. Um, well, since we're talking about you eating breakfast before a race, um, so what does your race prep look like for like your nutrition?
Um It's the funny thing, I had a 5 race streak where I ate McDonald's every single breakfast before the race and won 5 races in a row with a McDonald's breakfast.
All right.
So,
So McDonald's
um,
is key. Got it.
so half of it is like, could I have done better without the McDonald's? Or is the McDonald's my key?
Yeah.
Um, but no, honestly, just like it's mainly the days before the race, like carb loading days beforehand. And no, but I was gonna say like carb loading days before
Mhm.
races. Like everybody's like, okay, night before the race. No, that's not really helping you very much. Like, so I normally start preparing 4 days before a race and carbs a lot of protein. Um,
Mhm.
like pastas, chicken and rice, like stuff like that, steak and rice. That's
Mhm.
great before a race, and then as well as hydrating and not just water. Like water isn't hydrate you to the level that we're riding at. So
Mhm.
exerting our bodies to, so like having some sort of electrolyte blend in your water. Like I use Hammer Nutrition, and I love
Mhm.
it. Just having something in your system, and like the entire drive to the race, I'm drinking
Mhm.
water. And as we were talking before, like that's why I drink like 6 of these things a day before a race. Just like trying to get myself completely hydrated so that by the time I get to a race, I'm ready to go and I'm not like trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So that when you get to the race, like you don't have any stresses. Like I show up to the race with my bike completely maintained, pre-prep. I don't have to do anything but hang out and wait for the race.
Yeah.
Because like I'll see some people who um I know I had Dylan on here earlier. Silver King's Dylan showed up, and it's partially my fault because I had his bike for a month and a half, but he showed up and like did a whole race prep on his bike the day before the race, and I was like, "You're watching." So if Dylan's listening, what the hell, Dylan? Uh,
bring his bike to like 3 different races for him. So
Yeah.
but yeah, just like being prepared when you get to the races, for sure, helps a lot.
Which is really cool of you to do, because like, again, going back to the hard enduro community thing, like, he's your competitor. Like, you didn't have to do that, but you did.
I was second in the A championship last year, and Dylan beat me. So like,
Yeah.
been competitors for a while, but we're all still friends. And he
Yeah.
like put out on his Instagram one day, he's like, "Hey, can anybody take my bike out east?" And I was like, "I got a trailer, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you."
That's awesome. I love that. So major kudos to you for doing that, because that
I
was
didn't
so cool.
do it for free, but I still would.
Well, but still, like, it's doing it though. You even offered, like I said, just the fact that you guys are competitors and you still did it. So it's like, some people would be of the mind that, like, it's my competitor, I'm going to make sure he's not going to be there, that sort of thing. Like, that makes me one spot better or whatever.
I could have like cut his gas line or something while I had his bike.
Exactly. Like, not that we're going to, Dylan, but no, I think that that's really cool. But all right, so McDonald's for sure, 100% before a race every time. Got it.
Got one sausage biscuit and one sausage McMuffin and 2 chocolate milk. 5 races in a row.
That's pretty great. That's a first. It's absolutely a first. So then, along with nutrition, what kind of like fitness routine do you have? Like, do you have something that you do normally, and is it different from like maybe the week before a race?
So it kind of like depends on the season we're in. Like, I live in Colorado, and in the winter there's not too much riding around here. So in the winter I'm in the gym pretty much every single day, and just working on really everything. Like, hard enduro requires every single muscle of the body. So you've got to be, first of all, strong, and then also have the cardio to back it up. So like, people ask me what to work on, and it's literally everything. It's like in the winter, like this time of season, I'm in the gym a lot, and then once in the summer, I still try to get to the gym at least one day a week. It's kind of rough sometimes, but I do a lot of mountain biking in the summer, and I'm trying to get into road biking as well, because I feel like that's even a better form to train yourself. But like, mountain biking is something that's fun, and you can still get a damn good workout out of it, for sure. So as far as off the bike, that's normally what I do. I love yoga, and I think it's really great for me. In hard enduro, you're always falling around and falling off your bike and stuff, and like, being able to be strong in awkward positions is so good for you. And then on the bike, normally I try to ride 4 to 5 times a week in the summer, and then like in the winters 2 or 3 times a week. But that's not going out and just enjoy riding. Like, I'm doing motos of some sort. Whether some days I'm doing sprints, some days like long motos. Just try to do a little bit of everything to train myself for every situation. But then also keeping it fun. Like, I'll go out and do my motos. Like, the summer I was doing like a lot of 30-minute, like 30-minute motos a day. And it's like, I'd go out and do that, and then go out riding for 2 hours, like just joyriding, having fun. Like, keep it fun, so you're not just, if you're going out and just doing motos and going back, it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people like Tristan Hart, like, really, he's very like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna train, and I'm gonna, make the most of my time. And like, that's cool if that's how you work, but not everybody works like that. So I think it's really cool that you keep that enjoyment. I think that's really important.
He doesn't really like to show it, but he has fun. Like, those motos and they fun a little bit.
Well, Tristan's a very different person. That's why he's at the level he's at, right?
Oh, that's for sure. Like I'll go out with Cody, because Cody lives literally an hour, hour and a half from me. So we ride that time together, and we'll go out and like kind of hammer for the first half of the day, and then just kind of mess around, like try to get Instagram clips and something. And he's always doing this way above my head, so I just follow him around with the camera. But yeah, just like kind of being able to mix in the fun with training.
Yeah, that's cool. So since your injury, you've been Mr. Media. How has that been for you?
It's actually taken off a lot more than I thought it would. I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed to like film and do media and that kind of stuff, like just for fun. So at TKO, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and just like help the team out, film some stuff. Like if I can help the team with anything else, do that and just be at the races because I just love being at the races. That's my favorite place to be. So I went to TKO. I got a media pass, and then I was just like filming just iPhone clips, and then I ended up talking to those people like, "Hey, can we buy that from you?" I'm like, "What? You want to buy my videos?" And so it started turning out like I actually made quite a bit of money at TKO from people just wanting to buy my like videos and have them edit reels and stuff. So then that kind of spread into me looking into it, like, okay, this is a potential for a business. So I've been reaching out to other sources and stuff. Like I just did a video of this CSU football team. Like I've started to get a lot of different opportunities. I got an opportunity to like photograph for the like local basketball team, so I'm looking into doing that. I had a meeting with like our local dealership today about running their social media, and then I'm probably going to be going to all the enduro crosses doing like filming and media there as well. So it kind of became a much bigger thing than I expected it to be. And apparently people like my stuff.
That's
But
great, though.
yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be able to go to Endurocross and like actually have a purpose there because I want to go, but I was like, I don't want to go to hang out. Like I'm like I just hate hanging out doing nothing. Like if
Yeah.
I filming, I actually have a purpose to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a great opportunity. Like, I would love to have something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn stoked on it. So
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm really excited to see like what you have come out with all this enduro cross and everything. Like, this is cool. It's
I
exciting.
I want to get like an actual film camera, but I've been talking to some
Yeah.
the money I have to spend to get like a camera that can film better than an iPhone wouldn't
Mhm.
fit. And as rich, we don't we're not very rich. So
Yeah.
I end up getting like a gimbal for my phone and continuing the iPhone clips. But I
Ryan Ryan's selling his old camera. Did you see that?
he says for what I want, an iPhone might be better.
Oh.
I'm trying to dog in your camera,
Well,
but
yeah.
no,
The thing is that cameras these days, like on your phone, they're actually really good because that's what I was in the beginning. All of my stuff was shot on my phone. And it's not too far off of the quality from the camera that I just got. But I'm also looking to do more photography stuff and like different disciplines and stuff like that. So the camera works a little bit better for that stuff.
and like
But it's all about what you're gonna do.
yeah, what I found out is like in good lighting, iPhone clips can be amazing. Like in Tennessee, when
Mhm.
I was in trees and the lighting is not good, and like the main race ended up being uh pretty. I guess not the main race, but like the qualifier loop. Like that is pretty late to start. And it's like it was dark in the trees and the lighting was crap, and my videos are not very good. But when the lighting's
Yeah.
good, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's the only downside that iPhone has is that they're not that great in lower lighting, but they're fantastic otherwise. So,
For Enduro cross, I mean the lighting is pretty good. think it'll be fine for that.
This is really cool. I'm super stoked for you. This is awesome. Like,
I I put out a poll on my Snapchat yesterday, and I was like, hey, who would be interested in like paying for a real enduro cross for a while? And like I got a ton of votes each direction for him, and maybe 10% of the people who actually voted are like going to the enduro crosses. I'm like, guys, you're not helping me. My friends who don't even own bikes.
it's the thought that counts.
I'm like, somebody's like, no, I wouldn't get a reel. I'm like, you don't even ride a bike, dude. Stay out of it.
That's really cool though that people wanted to pay you. Like, I mean, I've not even had people offer to pay me, and I've been doing this for longer than you.
I don't know. I think it's kind of just like there's a standard. Like when you send me those pictures, I was kind of thinking like, okay, how much is she gonna charge? And then just like send them all to me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's my thing though. Like I said, I'm all about trying to grow everything. So like for me, it is just fun, and it is cool to just like you reposted my picture from Silver Kings, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And like that's all I care about. Like you got a cool picture, I got a little shout out. Like that's
Well,
really all I care about.
when
But I'm also in a different tax bracket than you, so
no, when I was young, that's what I do. Is I'd go to all the races, and obviously, like I'm not qualifying for the pro mains in most of them. So I would go out and I'd like just video all the pro riders through a section and just put it all up on my Instagram. And then like that kind of started to grow my name because like people are like, oh, I saw this kid's Instagram, and I got to the point where like a lot of the pro riders were reposting my stuff, and it was the coolest feeling ever because I was,
yeah.
like, oh my god, Tristan Hart reposted my video, oh my god, so that's kind of how it started. I love doing that kind of stuff, and seeing the recognition was super cool because at that age, yeah, I'm just a fanboy for all of them.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I think it's awesome. I'm not trying to get paid by anybody right now. If I was, I mean, I definitely could probably, but my motivation's slightly different than yours. But you need it. You're a racer, so
I'm a broke student racer.
unfortunately. So you've been to all of the races in the US a couple times, it sounds like. What's your favorite race?
Um,
It's a hard question, I know.
I even thought about this. That's and I couldn't even think about a good answer. Silver Kings is really fun because that really suits my riding style. I really enjoy that one. Donner's really fun. I was bummed I missed that one this year. I really like Donner. Page is not my favorite. I would like to get that clear. And honestly, like I used to hate the East Coast. Like I hated the East Coast with a passion, being the West Coast guy. And now that I've actually started to figure it out and gotten a little bit better out there, like my best results of the year were out east. And it's like, especially like with that Battle of the Goats, that one's super fun because I like the mountainous terrain of that one. Sugarloaf is pretty fun, like because you get some natural terrain in that one as well. The rock gardens aren't my favorite. Actually, I really, really enjoyed King of Motos this year, which I thought I'd never seen, but it was wet this year. Kind of changed it. So I really like King of Motos, but I'd say Silver Kings has got to be my favorite.
Okay,
Also,
cool. Just in general, just
yeah, because like it's cool. Like you're at a ski area, there's so much going on. Like the parade is fun. Gage Key actually, like he flew to Silver Kings this year and he didn't have a bike to ride in the parade, so he asked to ride one of my bikes. So I let him ride my practice bike, and I was riding my race bike. And then I was like, I really want to do some burnouts, but I got a good tire on my race bike, so I traded him. Gave Gage my race bike, which many people would say is not the smartest decision. This Shooting burnout down the street is so much fun.
It sounds like a blast. It's a very different atmosphere around Silver Kings, it seems like. But it's also like a little bit different in general. Just like the format, everything's a little bit different about it. But it was a lot of fun. I liked it there.
They could improve their organization a little bit, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think they were going for more of like the format from overseas is kind of what they were following. So that's what it seemed like anyway.
I've done that one 4 times. I've done that one more than any of them.
It
Except,
seems really fun.
yeah, that was the one I ran out of gas at.
Well, if you could go anywhere in the world, um, to whether it was just trail riding or racing, you can pick one of each. But if you had to go like in an hour, you gotta go. Where are you gonna go?
I don't really know many of the places like for their riding in general. Like I just know the races at them. I've always seen though. Like I've always, everybody talks about like what overseas race I want to do, and everybody's like, okay, Romania, because you go over there, you get 5 days of riding. But like the Airsburg stuff looks so much more fun to me. Yeah, I'd really like to do Airsburg. Romania is like cool though. Probably one of those two, or actually Gettins. I'd probably do Gettins.
Yeah, those would be cool. All three of those sound really awesome.
The region of like actual riding there though. I don't really know what fun stuff is where. But that's the cool thing. Like, there's so much different styles of riding. Between out east and California, like it's so crazy how different it is.
Yeah, that's one thing that like I didn't realize how different things could be just riding in different parts of the country. This year alone, I've been from North Dakota to California to Georgia to Maine, and now I'm in Tennessee. And every single place is different. Tennessee to Georgia even is a little bit different, and it's just like the terrain changes so much, and you wouldn't think it because it looks the same. Like when you're standing in the parking lot looking at the trail, you're like, oh yeah, I could do that, and then suddenly you get in the woods and it's just totally different. It's like, okay, this is more than I thought.
Like when I was doing moto, I did plenty on each side of the country. Like a moto guy will tell you that it's different on each side, but it's not that much different. Like the dirt's a little bit different, a little bit wetter out east, but like it's pretty damn similar. Whereas like when you're trail riding, like even just like doing hair scrambles or any of that, it's so crazy how different it is. Like, and like you said, even on the East Coast, like Florida compared to Pennsylvania is so much. It's crazy. Like all Pennsylvania has is rocks. In Florida, you couldn't find a rock if you tried.
Yeah, Pennsylvania has a lot of rocks, and they have big rocks that move. That was my experience.
Yeah, I spent a month out there. Like I said, like I lived with Lou Ballapue, who is dad, and both of like Logan was, one of the top national trials guys for a long time, like right in there with Cody and Pat. So when I was out there, I was riding trials most of the time, and it is insane how much trials can help with your riding because like especially out there, it's so slick. Like nothing has traction on it, and the stuff I learned being out there, it was crazy how much it helped.
That's good to know because I've been getting invited to go riding in Pennsylvania, so now I've been warned.
I take it. It's good. Like it's kind of funny because they have similar. Like there's one spot where they have like pretty similar rocks that we do out here, except theirs are wet. So I'd like go for that at home. I'd make no problem. And then like all of a sudden I'm not getting traction up it. I'm falling back down it. And then like after riding out there for so long, I got back home and here in Colorado it's pretty damn dry. And like you can go up anything. It's so much fun to come back because you're like, oh my god, I can actually do like big lines and not just be messing around on flat ground. Like I've gotten stuck on flat ground so many times out east.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Ohio, that race I got fifth in. Like they have like this clay there, and when you brush off like the super hard packed clay, and there'll be a hill like that steep, and you can't get up it. It's crazy. Like no matter how good of a tire you have, no matter how good of a rider, like you just spin.
Have you ridden brushy when it's rained?
Yes. So last year, 2023, rained, and it wasn't bad in the main. It dried up a little bit, but in the prologue, it was so muddy.
Yeah.
And like the cross course was very entertaining to watch the amateurs.
I was gonna say I can only imagine. I was very surprised that it was dry this year, but I've been at brushy when it's rained, just like downpour, and I was just trying to get media on that hill climb that's by the office, and I slid down that just on my feet, and I was just like, it was like a water slide. It was crazy. But yeah, very, very slippery.
2 years ago, they had the Bentonite Brawl race. Have you seen that one? It was in Montana, and it was the U.S. Hard Enduro, and all it was hill climbs. Because like the venue is that was a big like hill climb place. Like they have a lot of nationals there, and so the entire race was hill climbs, and it downpoured like 2 days before the race, and that kind of dirt it cakes up on itself, and that was the toughest train I've ever had to ride. It's wet. 'Cause, like I have that kind of train near me. Like it's not bad when it's dry, but it's like your tire would get caked up with that much mud on it.
Yeah, it's that clay. I went hiking in the Badlands, and it rained while I was out there, and it was like I went from hiking at a good pace to it took me an hour to get a quarter mile back because it was just like the clay like sucked my feet in. It was just terrible.
Yeah, which that race was one of my best races. On a 125.
Really?
Grenaded my 125 by the end of the race. Like it blew up. But I got like 120th overall or something. Had a race in hill climbs on a 125.
Wow. Any interest in ever doing the hill climb series?
Oh, I would love to. There's no money in it, but I would love to. Like just for fun. Like last year, a couple of the Hard Enduro guys, like I think it was Ryder and Gage, did one of the hill climbs, and it looked so much fun.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. There was one in North Dakota, and I just saw it after I left North Dakota, of course, but it looked really cool. I was like, dang, why did I leave?
Yeah, it's
Hard Enduro. That's why I left.
Like those are like so freaking powerful and massive. Like
Yeah.
like motor and a dirt bike chassis. That's crazy.
This slightly different, yeah.
Yeah. And then you gotta wrestle that thing up a hill.
Yeah, it's a little intense.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last thing that I have for you is what is your best advice for somebody who's new? Somebody who's maybe wanting to get into hard enduro or thinking about it. What's the best advice you can give?
I mean, especially hard enduro, but really any form of riding. Don't be intimidated. Most of the people are pretty damn cool people. Like they want to help you out, generally.
Yeah.
But like, don't be afraid to talk to people, ask questions. Like, I really enjoy coaching and helping people out myself. Like, when I turn 18, I'm gonna get my coaching certificate because like it's just I enjoy doing it. But normally, pretty much anybody you talk to is willing to help you, and just like go try. You know, you're gonna suck for a while. Everyone sucks for a while. When I started motocross, I would get lapped by the entire field. You know, like you're gonna suck for a little bit, but as long as you like stay with it and just don't get discouraged, like and actually try. Like so many people will go out, ride for a month, not see improvement, and be like, "Oh, okay, it's not for me." But like, stick with it, try. It can help you so much.
Yeah, kind of have that positive mindset like we were talking about.
And CWT training. You need that.
That was actually going to be the other thing that I asked you. When you were getting into hard enduro, did you ever do any clinics or anything like that? Or
So
did you just do it? You just knew?
I worked with Destry Abbott a lot, DA training.
Yeah.
So I was with him before I even got into hard enduro. Like when I was doing national enduro and that kind of stuff. That's more suited to, like that's what he had success in. So I had a really good relationship with him. He helped me out a ton, and especially like with endurocross stuff, because like obviously he does a lot in that as well, and riding with him helped a ton, and he kind of got me started into hard enduro as well. And then I also did a lot of his endurocross clinics because he does like a clinic before all the endurocrosses, and those help so much. And then I did watch quite a few YouTube videos on like basic stuff, a lot of Rick Larson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess Destry was the only person I really trained with. I trained with a couple people.
Okay.
But yeah, Destry helped me out a ton.
That's awesome. I really want to work with Destry. Like, I'm from Arizona, and so like I haven't been back there in a while to like be there long enough to actually work with him, but that would be so cool. It's like a dream.
Yeah, he's such a good person. Like, they're such a good family, and
Yeah.
like really fun to ride with. Like he'll push you, he'll make you do things you're not comfortable with, but it's so much fun. And like I've seen so much progression, like just from doing clinics with him. Like by the end of a 3-day clinic, I'm, quite a bit better of a rider. Like, and yeah, he's just such a good person to learn from, and
Yeah.
amazing rider. Like it's, even though he's starting to, like get up there in age, he's such a good rider. We were at the Gypsy race this year, and I hopped in behind him on the practice lap, and it was like, I think he was just chilling. It was like everything I had to keep him in my sights. And then finally, I ate it so hard right in front of him.
Oh no.
But yeah, he's an insane rider.
Yeah, he's a legend, dude. That's awesome. I didn't know that you'd worked with him. That's so cool. So you just get to work with like all the cool people, because then now you get to hang out with Cody all the time and learn from him.
Cody's been a huge help of mine the past 2 years. Like last year, the first year I really started riding with him, and really like it's just kind of a coincidence that we happen to be living close to each other. Like it's kind of luck, but it's so good because he has somebody he can train with who's like actually wants to go out and train. Versus we have like a pretty good local hard enduro group. Like pretty much all of them just do it for fun, and there's a couple of kids who are actually like, pretty damn good pro riders. But like I actually want to go out and like train, so Cody prefers riding with me. But like just somebody to do it with helps so much. Like having someone there to push you, whether you're better than them or they're better than you, like having someone to push you help in that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned CW2 training. That you're still doing that, so like you're still working through that.
Yeah, so I've doing the like CW2 training modules, which if you haven't looked into it, Cody's like online training platform. It's cool. Like you can log in and watch videos and then like collaborate with him. Like if you have questions, ask him questions. Like he's super responsive, and I try to jump on like do the collaboration when I can as well. And it's kind of just like a little community. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of people on there who like have made friends with the community, and like are kind of talking back and forth through the collaboration. But yeah, it's helped quite a bit going through all the classes and stuff, because obviously Cody is one of the best. Like he was leading the series for a while here, and he's such a good rider and so much to learn.
Yeah, I think it's really well put together. I started doing it a couple months ago, and it's really been a huge help, especially being out traveling. I I don't really get the opportunity to take clinics, plan where I'm going to be near a clinic as easily as everybody else. So I was getting really discouraged because I knew I wanted to like improve in my riding. And so I heard about this and I was like, this is absolutely perfect. And like you said, he's super responsive. Everybody in the collaboration has been really great. Um, Being a female and somebody who's really new, it's really scary going into a community like that and having it be like closed because it's like, what kind of accountability is there going to be? Like when I post something on Instagram, people say some pretty nasty things sometimes. So it's just like, I was really scared. But when I finally did it, everybody was so supportive and it was really cool. Everything was just positive. So I actually really love the community there.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool for sure. Like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, it being online makes it so nice. There's some people, whether you can't travel or you're in an area that doesn't really have anybody, like it's hard. Like in Colorado, there's no enduro trainers. Like we just have. So I had to go to Arizona to ride with Destry. Whereas now, like you
Mhm.
can, and Cody still does a lot of in-person clinics,
Mhm.
kind of like here in Wyoming. Um, but yeah, having another option versus having to travel somewhere, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot more affordable too because I mean clinics tend to be a lot of money and then you have to pay for like your housing, your travel, all of that stuff. And this is just really nice and convenient. I mean, I personally still like in-person clinics because I like getting that instant feedback, but it is really cool because on that platform you can submit videos um, and get feedback on your videos. So, which I believe in doing anyway because I like to look at my body position and be like, I thought I was doing this and I'm definitely not.
Yeah, I am a firm believer in like looking at footage, especially
Mhm.
like I started riding trials like this May. I got a trials bike,
Mhm.
and I've been riding a ton of trials since. This is actually how I dislocated my shoulder the second time on a trials bike. But like it was cool starting in trials because when you get to like a high level with anything, like what it takes to improve is so minimal, like percents of percents, you know.
Mhm.
And like on a trials bike, I was new and I had hardly ever ridden one, so like there was so much to learn, so much to improve on. Where obviously there still is in dirt biking, but it's so much smaller. Like the
Mhm.
and they're so much smaller versus on trials bike. Like I go try a line, couldn't do it. Come back 2 days later and would clean it easily. And looking at footage on that stuff helped so much. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can get over this rock because my front tire was too high and I didn't compress it enough. So next time I go into that, I'll hit it lower, you know? And that stuff helps so much.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think once you know what it is what you're looking for, whether you take a clinic in person or you do something like Cody's online stuff, um, you know what you're looking for, and that's a big thing. Then you can go back and look at your footage of you doing whatever and then know what you need to do. Whereas like I went and did enduro cross stuff the other day and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my body. Like this was a bad idea. But I have an idea now of what I need to do and what I can be looking for and improving. So
It's like a direction and something to consciously work on when you're out riding helps so much.
mhm.
There's days where I'll go out and it's like, this is what I want to get better on. I'm just going to focus on this. Like, I don't care about anything else today, just this. Like, I haven't been doing much like what we call go fast stuff lately, which is like fast single track or motocross. And at the end of the summer, I really noticed that I was kind of lacking there. So I was going on
Mhm.
motocross track, and I was like, where am I slow at? Like, where am I losing time? And it was in the turns. So I was like, okay, well, what am I doing in my turns that I'm losing time on? And it was like I'm clutching it too much and not rolling
Mhm.
through enough. Like I'd brake really hard, dump the clutch, gas it, go. So I took my clutch
Mhm.
and I rode an entire night straight without a clutch. And I lap time at the beginning of the night with a clutch and a lap time at the end of the night without a clutch. And after riding a whole evening without a clutch, my lap times were faster without a clutch than previously with one.
You go extreme on your training.
The clutch is a really popular thing in moto. A lot of moto guys do that.
Interesting.
Guy, like I love to throw whips and stuff. So I can't really whip enough to feel cool. I may not look cool.
Oh my god, that's so crazy. Well, I think that that's important no matter what level you're on. You know, whether it's your level or my level or somebody who's just starting. Picking one thing to work on was something that I did every single time I went out. Even just trail riding in the beginning, it was like I, want to figure out my brake this time. I'm just gonna work on my front braking this time because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything about body positioning in the beginning or any of that. I didn't find that all out until like a year after I started riding. I was like, oh, this all helps. But finding one thing I think to work on and improve on each time you ride is really important, even if you're not like at a racing level.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think no matter what you're doing, whether it's hard enduro, moto, air scrambles, like no matter what you're doing, I think body positioning is the biggest fundamental. That
Yeah.
because like some people are like, okay, my front tire is pushing out in this turn. Like I don't want to go faster because my front tire is going to push out. Well, all of it is down instead of above the bike. It's like you're giving the bike more leverage to push, So kind of like once you get your body positioning right, it is so much easier to go faster. So like if you look at there's so many people who have such good body positioning and they get that really good body positioning and then they turn into a good rider so fast. Like this one local kid near us, he was a C rider. And then like he really started working on his body positioning. Then all of a sudden he was winning B and then winning A. And that was within like 2 seasons. And now he's like getting top fives at our local races. Just because like he got the fundamentals together. And then once you get the fundamentals together and you put them in place, it just progresses like crazy from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love learning in general. I'm a total nerd in real life. And then on top of that, like you add in dirt bikes and like I love learning about all of this stuff. Now that I know there's actually like theory behind riding, it's really cool. I just want to learn it all.
I'm the exact I love learning. That's why I'm kind of getting into this media stuff because it's something I don't know much about. And I'm learning so much. I have a few really good friends who are like doing it professionally. And like Zacho, I talk to him all the time. And it's kind of fun. He's filmed for me for a while. Like we've done a lot of projects together. And I've never realized how much of a pain in the ass I've been. Because like and I was like, damn, I'm kind of a pain. But there's so much to learn to it. And like I really just enjoy that learning process. And like we were talking about before you came on, like I really enjoy golfing because it's something I'm terrible at. And I can learn something. Like I'll go out and hit balls in the yard for a couple hours and put it like film myself. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like I could be better here. And then like I start putting that stuff together and seeing it, like seeing myself get better. And I'm like, wow, this is fun.
Yeah. Seeing improvement is the most like inspiring thing. Like I don't like to say motivating because to me motivation is really fleeting. Like you can have motivation to want to go work out in the morning and then you go to bed and in the morning you wake up and your motivation's gone. So like I don't like that word. Inspiration's my better word.
Yeah, I like determination. Like, determination is better than motivation.
Yeah, I agree. Determination is something that you need to have and discipline for hard enduro. So
like there's definitely days where I'm like, I do not want to go to the gym. Like, well, I want to and to win a championship, I have to become stronger. To be stronger, I have to go. Okay, I'm going to the gym.
Yep. Unfortunately, you have to do it. I mean, there's last week, I did not want to go running. I was tired, was just not feeling it. But I was like, okay, instead of doing 10 miles, I'm just going to do 5 and just do that, in half an hour or whatever. And then I got like 30 feet into my run and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the full 10. Like,
No,
and I did it. Like, you know,
like I've been playing
some
golf lately because I can't really do real golf. And like
yeah.
the other day I was supposed to go and I got up and like I hadn't slept well and I'm like, I'm not going. And so then like at the end of that day, I was like, I really wish I went. So the next day I got up and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna play nine. Like I don't have much time, I'm just gonna play nine. And I got out there
Mhm.
first nine and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. And like, yeah, I get in that mindset of like, okay, I'm doing this. This isn't too bad. I'll keep
Yeah.
going. And
Yep.
experiences quite a bit with riding too. Like I'll be out riding and I'm just not like lines that are normally easy. I just cannot get myself up. And so I started
Mhm.
thinking, okay, well, what is it? What am I doing wrong? Is it my body? Is it my clutch? Is it my mindset? Which a lot of the time, like mindset is a huge factor. Because if I'm thinking,
Mhm.
oh my God, I'm so tired, I can't get up this, then I'm not going to do it. You know, like I'm not going to put my full effort into it. So I'll find whatever it is that I'm lacking and just go do something easy that helps with that. You know, like go mess around in the rock garden or something for a while, and then like, okay, I'm feeling better. Now I go out and try that line. I clean it. You know, like
Mhm.
mindset in racing is so important. Uh, like for example, there was this one line like out in our local riding zone. There's like these three big step ups in a row, and the very first time I ever tried it, like no one was around. I tried it by myself. I almost cleaned it. I was really close. And then like there was a couple of my buddies out there. I'm like, hey guys, come look at this. Like this is a cool line. And then I couldn't get it. And then I started to get discouraged. And
Mhm.
I couldn't get it. Like just getting pissed off. And then I get to the point where I'm not even thinking. I'm just trying it and not even
Yeah.
thinking about it. And then like when you're not conscious about what you're doing, you can't put your full effort into it. So then finally I was like, okay, let's go do something else for a little bit. So we went out, went on a little bitty ride, came back, tried it, cleaned it first try. And ever since that time, I've never not cleaned that line. But it
Yeah.
took me 15 tries to do it just because I was in a mindset of like, oh, this is hard. I'm not going to make it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's huge. I went back to Brushy Mountain this last weekend after not being there for like 4 months. And the last time I was there, I could barely do like the main trail.
Yeah.
And my buddy took me on like some of the other trails that 4 months ago I would have been like, no, no, I'm not even going to look at that because it's just like visually intimidating and scary for me because I've never done anything like that. And I've always been really scared of like downhill, and you add a bunch of rocks and stuff to that. And it's just like, you know how brushy is. It's kind of scary. But I really was like, okay, I'm not going to think about this, like about how many times I'm going to fall or whatever. I'm just going to do it. And like, I just posted a video yesterday that was like, I had a moment and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And then I did it. And like, that's just what I try and do now because you're right. Mindset is huge when it comes to this stuff. And it doesn't even have to be in a race, it could just be riding the trail like I was doing. You know, if you think you can do it, a lot of the times you can. Not always, because there are times where I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that. And I just do not have the skill, but I'm working on
I've done that before. I'm like, I can do that line. And then I try it. I get like a quarter of the way up it, like cartwheels down. I'm like, nah, I can't do that line.
it.
Um,
Yeah.
saying like there's this one section of, like I have a really cool riding spot right out of my house. Like I can ride right out of my garage. And
Mhm.
one line in it. And last summer I tried it one time and I ended up crashing really bad on it. And I never tried it again after that until this summer. I was out there with a buddy. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm gonna try it. And I tried it and I crashed on it. Because I was like, all I was thinking about is the time before that I crashed on it. And my friend
Mhm.
I'm with like is quite a bit below me, you know, and he's like, I want to do that line. I was like, oh, good luck, you know. Oh, and he cleaned it. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I've got to do this again. Like, I can't let you clean it out.
Mhm.
So I turned around and like just thinking about the fact that he did it now, I was like, that's easy, and
Mhm.
I cleaned it. And I was like, why was I so afraid of this? Like, it wasn't that hard. I just had it in my mind of
Mhm.
that one crash on it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's huge. It's insane what your mind can do, and both negative and positive. And so that's why I think it's really important to talk about mindset, because it does make a huge difference. And I think a lot of people don't realize your daily thoughts make a huge difference in your daily life. And when I started changing my mindset to be more positive in daily life, I started doing a lot more and started accomplishing a lot more. And like, that was just my day to day. Then apply that to riding. And then now I've improved my riding, and now I've improved my confidence. And it's just like it all keeps adding up.
No, for sure. Like last fall in enduro,
Mhm.
I broke a wrist, and like I got into like a pretty depressed state from that. Like I was like, oh my god, my season's over. I broke my wrist. You know, like this sucked.
Mhm.
Right, for how many months? And then I was like, wait a minute, like this isn't cool to be thinking like this. You know, so I like really started changing it, and my goal was to go into King of the Motos, like do absolutely everything I could to make myself better before King of the Motos, which is the first round, which was like going to the gym, training, like mindset, all that stuff, like just be as positive as I could, to put everything into it. And then King
Mhm.
of the Motos, I was like, oh my god, like it worked. You know, like I
Yeah.
rode my bike 3 times in between my crash in October and the first round of here, King of the Motos, January. But just like
Mhm.
putting yourself towards something like that, like making a change can help so much if you like make it in the positive direction. And because all I was thinking was, you know, positive, positive, positive. And then by the time I get there, you know, I'm like, okay, these guys have been riding all winter. I've ridden 3 times, but I'm a better rider. Like I decided in my mind, like I'm a better rider. I'm a better rider. And I went to the line, and my King of the Motos this year, my GPS wasn't working, which King of the Motos is GPS.
Mhm.
Well, this sucks. I'm going off the line. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, this doesn't matter to me. I'll be fine. So I was actually following Dylan for a while there. And like, it was kind of annoying because I wanted to go faster, but I was like, I don't know where I'm going. So I followed Dylan, hoping Dylan was going right. And then finally I was like, all right, I'm just going to gamble it. Like, I'm just going to go and just see what happens. Like, I mean, I'll have to be able to find somebody's tracks. So sure enough, I did.
Yeah.
Took off and like was just following tracks. And then finally, like halfway through the race, my GPS turned back on. uh, yeah, that got a little bit off track there, but yeah, just being positive about like this. This can't affect me. It doesn't matter. Like as we were talking about, I got dead last. Oh well, you know it's in the past. There's nothing I can do about it. Move forward.
I think that's awesome. I think you've really mastered that kind of mindset. And like you said, Brushy is probably like the biggest test for that, you know.
Yeah, when
And up until now, when you've hurt yourself, you know, I think I think it's really cool that you've kind of done this shift to the media stuff, because you're still doing something, you know, around what you love, and you're being helpful, you know, you're helping yourself as well as other people. Um, but you could have just been like, woe is me, you know, I hurt myself, like I'm off the bike, this sucks, like you said, you know, prior. Um, but I think you've really mastered that mindset. I think that's going to take you really, really far. It's really cool.
yeah, like obviously it sucks. I'm in this thing right now, and we've been getting rain like the past couple days straight, and the dirt's so good. And like the track stuff is going out. And normally they'd be like just so sad that I can't ride or something. I'm like, oh well, whatever. I can't do anything about it. So like I'm gonna film these guys. It'll be cool. You know, like just
Mhm.
finding something that keeps your mind busy and something that keeps you happy, like is so much of a help. Like going through stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think that's phenomenal. I'm so stoked for you. Like everything that you're doing, like your writing, all the media stuff, like you've got such a bright future. And I think it's really cool that like I get to come in at this point and kind of see you in this transition period, you know, before you like go like super insane pro and you're like the next Tristan Hart or whatever. So I think
Yeah,
this is awesome.
this year has definitely been my best year to date. I mean, like obviously there wasn't really much accomplished. Like I didn't get a championship or anything, which coming from like the success I had locally. And it was like I win 4 championships a year, and that's what I was used to. And then when I started doing just national stuff, like I kind of got down for a little bit because like this sucks. Like I'm not winning anything. Like, but I'm still a better rider. You know, the way we described it is like locally you're a big fish in a little pond, or like you go to national, you're a little fish in a big pond. Like you might be good up to a national, and all those kids are good. Like there's nobody slow. And
Yeah.
yeah, like this year has been a huge improvement for me. Like I was able to get the consistency I missed last year, and then like my skill level, even throughout the season, has gone up so much. Just because, like, I mean, I've been working my butt off to get up here, and at Sugarloaf, I caught Colton Haker, Petrie, and Cavello Huddy all in the same section, and like I caught these guys, and I was like, what's going on? I blew a turn or something. Like, why'd I catch you guys? And then I was thinking about like Ed Pass getting up there. I was like, okay, I belong here. Like this is I'm battling with Colton Haker, and I passed all of them, blew a turn. They all passed me back, and then I never caught him again. But like it was just so cool to like be in that situation. Honestly, I got there and I didn't know what to do. I was like, what am I doing? Head of Colton Haker. And like I kind of got sidetracked for a minute just thinking about it, and I blew a turn. And then I was like, so now I know next time I get there, you know, I belong riding with these guys now. I belong in that top 10 group. Yeah, I'm really stoked on my season. Then Silver Kings, that was my last race of the year, and that would probably be my best race ever. So it's good to have something like that to finish out the season. Obviously, I would have liked to win the national championship. Like that's what I was in line for, but whatever. Yeah, but I'm still super stoked on my season.
Good. Like I said, I'm really excited to see where this goes next year. This is really cool.
I can't really get into next year yet, but it's good. I'm really stoked for it.
Yeah. This is exciting. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come talk and share all this stuff. This is really cool. This is like one of my favorite conversations. So I really appreciate it.
For having me. This is my first official podcast, other than the PW.
Woohoo! First one. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. Before we go, do you have any shout outs that you want to do? Anybody you want to say hi, mom, or anything like that?
My parents are much podcasters. My dad might listen to it, so hey, Dad. But I really got to thank the whole Sugar USA team. I've been with them for 3 years now. I've helped. Like I don't know what they saw in me at first. I was getting like dead last in the music class and enduro cross. But yeah, they've helped me out more than I can say. And of course, my parents helped me out too, just getting me to all the races, and you know, until I was kind of able to get support, like they were my complete support, you know. So I'm so grateful they helped me out to get here, and all the rest of my sponsors that have got me here, Race Tech, FXR, like those guys are great to work with, and they help me out tons. And CWC training.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else before we go?
I don't think so. I don't have anything. I really didn't even know I was expecting coming into this. So.
Well, cool. I really appreciate it again, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good talking.
All right, bye.